Texas Pete, go ahead and tag Chris Hughes or me, and I'll let Chris Hughes do it.
I'm gonna start
crack open a new sun drop for the show.
I need to start getting a Diet Mountain Dew sponsorship or something. I gotta get.
Hey, I'm working on sun drop. They've texted me back.
Let's go. Hey, I'll get some sun drop for that.
All right, guys, we are live. It is time to our next to last episode of the season, the penultimate episode of Talking Preps. I got most of the crew here. Dale, before I hit the theme music, what's on your mind?
Well, we'll come right back in the fall, so we ain't gonna have too much. We might only have 2 episodes left, but we're gonna be back.
Yeah, we did the last episode.
Hold on, before we hit the theme music, Dale has to explain to America what happened to himself.
Yes.
What's on my mind, or what's on the bottom of my pen? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
that's what hard heads are for. I tell you what ain't on my mind, and that's it's painful.
All right. What happened was Dale drank all that hot sauce. That's what happened. It started.
Hey, have y'all noticed? I'm not sitting at a fold-out table anymore. I've got the office back together.
Yeah, all together. All right, let's hit the music. Let's get started. Here we go. All right, we're back. We're talking preps. Got most of the team here. We have some coaches in the background, so we're going to get right to it. I'm going to bring in new Garinger coach, Shon Galloway. Rice, you know this guy pretty well. Tell everybody a little bit about
him. It's Coach Galloway, of course, being, part of the perennial powerhouse known as Mallet Creek. I mean, it's exciting to see, we always talk about with Garinger how, we always feel like they should get a guy in there, a football guy that, understands what it's like to win. And I think, this time, what a home run hire. I mean, having a guy that understands what it takes to get to the top, that's well respected in the coaching community. I really am excited to see Coach Galloway get over there in that program and give it all he's got and give his wealth of knowledge to that program and begin to build it up. So, Coach Galloway, I'm excited to see you here. Excited that, to watch you get to work from afar. So, Coach, welcome.
I appreciate it. Thank you, brother.
Well, Coach, I guess I know Chris probably has 1,000 questions. But before we get to Chris, Garinger has been through a lot of coaches. I think you like 12 and 20 years. They've only had 2 wins a season since 95. I mean, you know the history. It takes a lot of courage to jump into that type of job. Why did you decide to take it? What are you going to do with it?
Well, why did I decide to take it? Because it's a great opportunity. I mean, you go over there and like you said, it's a chance to build. It's a chance to give the kids and the community some to get a championship going. I mean, I can bring a championship mindset, and that's what I'm going in. The bar has been set high, and I'm not going to lower the bar. So I'm so excited to get that opportunity to go over there. And I'm extremely happy that they chose me to come over there and try to work and get the program the way it should be.
Well, Coach Galloway, welcome to the show, and congratulations on the hire. And my statement or my question, and maybe a little bit of both, is why not now and why not you? And you know what? You come from a great pedigree. You've been at some great schools, worked with some tremendous coaches. So I have no doubt that you've got the wherewithal and the ability to motivate these guys. And I don't even think it's about motivating the players. I think it encompasses a whole lot more than that. You've got to get together a school and build a culture. There ain't no culture. You got to build the culture. You got to do a lot of stuff there. But why not? Why not now? Why can't you make this happen? Look back in history. Barry Shuford won at Garinger. Coach Jimmy Teague at Reidsville, he won a lot of games at Garinger, I think, back in the day. Garinger used to be okay. And, I think back to Chris Carter had a really good run in the early 2000s. My man Jeff Caldwell, I love that guy to death. He's one of the best guys out there. He wasn't there a long time, but I saw some positives coming from him. And I think that the team, the community wants to win. So you know what? Why not here? Why not now? My good friend, Coach Pete Gilchrist, who used to be at West Charlotte, said, man, if I was able to come back to Charlotte, he said, I'd want to go to Garinger. He said, there's not a lot of expectations. And he said, man, how fun would it be to try to rebuild a program? So why not? I mean, I'm happy for you. And I think that your enthusiasm and really your background of where you've come from is going to help you really make this into a successful venture.
I appreciate that. And,
Coach,
go ahead.
I said, tell us a little bit about your past and where you come from.
Well, going back, I started my career out on the collegiate level. I started at East Tennessee State as a student assistant first and foremost, and then I got the job at Tusculum College as a GA, where I started off on the defensive line. Then also I was assistant strength coach, and then the following year I promoted to head strength coach within the same year as well. And then I took a job as head strength coach, coordinator football at Morehead State University, along with coaching the defensive line there. And then I went back to East Tennessee State, defensive line coach. I didn't coach in the strength conditioning department. They had their own strength guy there. So, and then after that year, they decided to drop football at East Tennessee State. I got into high school football at West Brunswick High School in Charlotte, North Carolina, with Jimmy Fletcher, good friend of mine, way back at Charlotte, North Carolina, and West Brunswick High School. And after 1 year there, then I came over to Kannapolis, A.L. Brown High School with the great Ron Massey, the late great Ron Massey, where I learned a whole lot, man. I'm talking about, I learned so much from that man. It's absolutely, I can't talk about it all, man. I had so much respect for him, still do to this day. I learned so much from him working there in Kannapolis and working under that man, Ron Massey. And then after that, I came to Mallard Creek High School. I spent 10 years at Kannapolis High School, and then I've been at Mallard Creek from 2014 until the present time with Mike Palmieri. Learned a whole lot from him as well, great man. And I'm just looking forward to carrying all that wealth of knowledge that I received from great coaches back in the day. Hopefully, it's instilled in me and I can instill it over there at Garinger High School. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm very, very excited, man. I really am looking forward to probably implementing what I've learned and gained throughout those years.
Coach, a lot of guys have gone to Garinger and told me, I'm going to be there for a long time. I'm going to stick. And we just haven't seen that. Why is it going to be different with you? And what are you going to, what type of commitment are you going to make to being there for the kids? Because these kids came off of a season where their coach left them week one, and Grice and Chris went nuts that night.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Langston, man. I would go into this job thinking they're going to be here 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. This is it for me, man. I'm going in all guns blazing. I'm ready to roll. I understand where I'm going. Basically, my background way back in the day, I come from a place just like these kids. And, and I know you got to have something in there that somebody got to come in there and fight with the community, fight with the kids, and let them know you're going to be there. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going in, I'm ready to rock, and I'm not listening to anybody else around me. I embrace what people are saying, but, sometimes, like you said, you got to have that thick skin and you can't just listen to what everybody says. It's funny how when you tell people, one guy or a couple of guys have been like, and why are you leaving Mallard Creek to go there? And my thing is, why not? You know what I'm saying? It's a chance to build. It's a chance to take a championship mindset over there. Hopefully we can get that instilled in the community, in those kids. We already at the bottom. We can't go nowhere without, man. I truly do believe that. So we're gonna do it together. We're gonna get in the fight, and we're gonna be in the fight, and we're gonna do it together. So I'm ready to go.
Coach, as someone who's been a part, as an assistant to a head coach looking to build, staff is everything. Having those energetic guys and having those people around that are committed to your vision, is super important. So far, have you, been able to bring in some staff? If not, what are you looking for, in some guys that are willing to help, take over that rebuild over again?
The first person I was gonna call is you.
Phone's been ringing a little bit lately.
So to be honest with you, it's a couple of guys I have in mind. First and foremost, being honest with you, you got to look within first. You know what I'm saying? Because some of the coaches that have been there, they probably got great relationships with the kids. So I got to start within first. So I got to get in and talk to those guys and see if their vision is aligned with mine. See if their goals are aligned with mine. And if so, we can be there. If not, we got to move on. Like I tell them, it's nothing personal. We got to get it going on. We got to go up. And, after that, then we move outside of the circle that's that guarantee already. Then we go in and find coaches. So that's the plan.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Coach Galloway, in addition to getting coaches on the staff and more importantly than just coaches in the staff, the unicorn, it seems, at this day and age is coaches in the building. I think that's the ultimate important thing to get coaches there looking after the young guys every day. But more important is how are you going to go about getting numbers back up, getting the young men excited. I mean, there's there's thousands plus students at school. I mean, there's going to be a lot of boys to choose from, but hey, let's call a spade a spade. You know, the success and the track record has not been there the past few years. So how do you go in there and get these young guys excited about coming out? Because let's be real, football is not as easy as maybe rolling some basketballs out in the gym.
Yes,
it
sir.
requires weightlifting. It requires hot practices in the middle of August. How are you going to get these guys excited to build a foundation for the team?
Well, first and foremost, you know, I got a 16-year-old son, a 14-year-old daughter. Social media, that's going to help a whole lot. You know, kids, people love that social media. You know, I'm not a big social media tech guy, but I got to get on it now. You know, so I understand that a whole lot. So social media is going to be the big thing. And, you know, first and foremost, like I told the AD, I got to get in the hallways, you know what I'm saying, sort of beat the bushes, get in the hallways and generate some interest and some enthusiasm to the community and those kids in there. And then next, I told him, I said, you know, the feeder programs, I got to get to the middle school. And I understand they didn't have middle school football and everything. So I got to go to the PE coaches and I got to sit down with them and point out, like, who are your athletes? What do I have to do? Well, what do we need to do? If they don't have football, maybe we get a flag football team of some sort so we can see and get that, you know, get those fundamentals generated with that. And then also, and I know it's going to take a lot. You know, I got to get out in the elementary systems, you know, the little Saturday Pop Warner football leagues and shake a few hands in the community. You know what I'm saying? You got to get in the community and get those people to understand when they're small, you know, they're little, 7, 8 years old when they're starting, got to get them excited about staying in their home place in Garinger. We cannot get them outside of that Garinger circle. They got to stay right there in our area right there. So I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be a tough task. And I know, like Langston Works said, you know, some people go in there with enthusiasm and then it dries out in like 2 or 3, 4 years. I'm telling you, man, God willing, I'm going to keep rolling 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm just going to try to keep it going. So, you know, that's my plan, you know, and I'm sticking with it unless some drastic, I'm sticking with it.
Coach, I only got one last thing to ask you.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm a Kannapolis guy and was good friends with Coach, the late Coach Ron Massey, who is the greatest. I just want to ask, and I know we could sit here and talk all night, and we don't have a lot of time, but what's one thing that maybe you took from him? Because I think that he is one of the best organizers and program leaders I've ever seen in my life. It may be one tidbit you think you could take from him.
That's it, man. Learning to dot the I's and cross the T's. You know, you got when you're hiring people and when you're talking to people, you got to make sure they're aligned with you, and you got to hold them accountable. You know what I'm saying? So it goes to the washing of the clothes. I mean, to the painting of the fields. I mean, to the putting out the equipment, to taking kids home, everything. You got to be all in. And if you are not all in with Ron Massey, you know, you're not going to be around. So I learned that from him, you know, and the big thing, he treated everybody with respect. He treated everybody fairly. That's it. So, you know, and I'm telling you, man, I got so much respect for him. I can just keep going for days, man. But I learned that from him the most. Treat everybody with respect, you know, and just work hard. That's the big thing. Hard work, man. You got to work hard.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Definitely, Coach. You know, we're glad. And again, I love that, you know, a lot of the comments are being posted. You know, I always tell people when, you know, as today and these last few days have been with coaches getting jobs, they're all about the coaching community and what they say when you get a job. And there's one thing that's been for sure today. So many coaches and so much praise that's come your direction is indicative of the respect that you have within the coaching community. And, you know, I think, Coach, I speak for all of us. You know, we say we wish you the best. You know, of course, myself speaking, I mean, you know, everyone to get on the board and talk or whatever, you know, you need, you know, I'm definitely open to that, Coach. So we wish you the best. And of course, you know, let us know if you did anything, Coach.
I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you for your time.
No problem.
All right.
All right. Thanks, Coach. Wow. Big hire.
That is, and that's the thing. I mean, especially, you know, we've always kind of talked, and Chris, you know, you and I, you know, fired Garinger up for, you know, their hire before, and then getting in a guy and wondering if they properly vetted him. I think, you know, they've definitely made an about face from their prior hire before.
The last hire, whatever it was, it is what it is. But I think they got. Well, I don't think they got this one right. So who else do we have? Big hire.
I think we want DJ McFadden here, Coach, the illustrious Big I right here, Independent Coach McFadden. Welcome. How you doing?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Doing good, Coach. You know, I think the biggest thing, you know, to talk about is, you know, a coach coming back home. And I think, you know, to see that, you know, is definitely something that's important, something that sparks pride. We know that you were, you know, part of that illustrious run of state titles within your program. So coming back home, you know, my first question is, what is kind of one thing that you're taking from your days as a player winning state championships, bringing that to your, to the Independence program to try to get back to those same heights?
Yeah, I think for us, it's not so much of trying to get back to the old days, because like I've told people, is those days are gone. You get 107 straight wins, 7 straight championships. I mean, the likelihood of that ever happening again is unlikely. Our main focus right now is just kind of reestablishing the foundation that program was built on, though, and the hard work that it was built on, and then we'll create our own culture. Right now, we're just focused on going 1-0 every day. That starts in the classroom, in the weight room with us, and then to the practice field, and then everything else we think will take care of itself.
Coach, I could only imagine what it'd be like to go back and coach the school that you graduated from, you played at, you walked the halls as a student, and now to go back and mentored a lot of guys that look just like you back in the day. How special has that got to be? Because I always say you can never go wrong as a school to hire an alumni. I think that there's a lot of successful coaches out there, but few people are going to have the same connection and commitment and just pride for that school like somebody that graduated.
Yeah, I mean, Independence still holds a special place in my heart, even when I was at other schools coaching. So being back in that building and being on the practice field and being on the game field now is definitely bringing back some memories. And I said it when I was in the interview, I don't think you guys are going to interview nobody at this very moment that cares more about this football team right now in this interview process than me. And I mean that. I meant that when I said it. And it's just been kind of unreal. In a sense, to be back home and be able to, have my opportunity to lead this program, but very excited with the group of kids we got, man. And just being back with the administration. Some of the people that was there when I was in school are still there. They've been nothing but supportive. It's just been a perfect situation all the way around.
That's good, Coach. You talked about culture, and understanding, that you want to establish your own culture. Can you give us some insight into some of the, the mentality and some of the things that you want to do within the Independence program?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's going to start with discipline. And for us, that discipline, again, is going to start how we conduct ourselves in the building. And then we'll take that into the weight room. Every program I've been a part of, whether it be playing or coaching, very successful programs, that culture started in the weight room. And that's not going to change here. That's how it was when I was there. And I think that's one of the foundations that we got to refine and put into place, is just that overall culture and discipline in the weight room. We feel like once we can do that and establish that discipline, again, we just think everything else will fall into place. When we looked at this team wasn't far off already. We just think it's some little things that we just need to clean up, and we think we'll be on the right track.
No, I think you're right, Coach, that the program's not far off. I know that he didn't necessarily have the results on Friday that he liked, but I think Coach Natoli did some really good things. And Coach Van Horn, I do think that they were really close in a lot of instances. And, you come from a staff where that was your biggest game coming from Butler. So you know the roster as well as anybody. And I got to ask, you coming from Coach Hale's staff, over at Butler, working with Coach Stone, for years, you guys were going head to head against Indy. Well, now you're back over here in the green and gold. I remember very well, the fun we had back and forth with Coach Knotts and Coach Newsom back in the day, where Tommy was calling them the puppy dogs and stuff like that. Are you going to build up this rivalry now that you're on the other side, the home side again?
Hale's kind of already built it up when he commented and put the little eye. So, it's funny because I'm still working at Butler right now. So I see Hale's every day, and we joke at each other back and forth, but I think we're both excited to get that rivalry kind of going again. We're both excited to be going back head to head. I mean, Hales was coaching against me when I was playing. So I think both sides are excited for this rivalry to get kicked off. We finally got it moved back to the last game of the year again, like it used to be. It's not going to feel any different. Yeah, I was over there last year and it was business on Friday nights, no matter who the opponent is. And now nothing's going to change. I mean, we're going to approach each game the same way. The rest for us to just be the logistics, who and when.
Coach, as we talked with Coach Galloway, coming in as a coach, especially being a young coach coming back home, staff is everything, So as you're building out your staff, and I mean, being in the coaching community, I have my guesses as to who I feel like is going to be over there with you. Have you already established guys, there as far as your staff? If not, what are some of the things that you're looking for in staff for your program?
Yeah, we're in a good place right now as far as our staff goes. First thing we wanted to do was kind of meet with the guys that was already there. That's very important, bridge that gap between us and the kids. So we met with those guys and kind of found out who was going to be in and who was out, if our visions aligned. And then I'm very excited about the group of guys that we had commit to us now. So the staff is pretty much already in place. I kind of jumped on that as soon as I got the announcement. That is like the toughest part of this whole process, is trying to hire staff. But I feel very good about the staff we got together. Can't wait for them to get around the kids.
That sounds good. And like I said, I have my guesses, but I'll wait to give the congrats when everything kind of settles. Well, we had to bring in another one of these coaches we have here. For me, I was looking forward to being on the other sideline against you this year, but as we all know, that's not going to happen. But we do have another guy over here looking like Freddy Krueger today that looks like he wants to incite terror on you this year. So Garinger, talk about your thoughts on the hire, and then let us know how you feeling about this rivalry kind of being reignited.
Well, personally, I think that it was an amazing hire, but it's not necessarily good for everybody else because he'll do a really good job of making that Independence culture what he wants it to be. He's got a great vision. He's always been a great coordinator wherever he's been. God's got him exactly where he wanted him, and that could be dangerous for a lot of people. I'm excited about that West Charlotte Independence rivalry coming back. Both of us are trying to bring those programs back, the resurrection. And I think nothing better than just playing in a non-conference game. I don't know. We play week 3, week 4. When do we play?
Week 3, I think. Yeah, week three.
Yeah.
Week 3. That game, that rivalry, I played in it for 2 years. West Charlotte's always going to bring it. You knew that. I always say West Charlotte was the only team in my 2 years I didn't throw a touchdown against, neither years. So, we know what to expect when we get ready to line up. And I always thought that when West Charlotte Independence is good for the city.
Mm-hmm.
So, hopefully me and Sam can end up doing a good job and getting these programs on the right track.
I hope that we keep that streak going about you not scoring any touchdown or passing touchdowns versus West Charlotte. So if we keep that streak going, we'll be okay.
I hope not. That ain't the plan.
That's gonna be hard to do, but yeah, definitely.
No, that ain't
you guys are being too nice on here, man. See, as an unemployed coach of the bunch right here, I can talk freely a little more than you guys. So, Garinger, I need from both of you, how do you feel that everything is going to go? Garinger, you know what you got. You've got an advantage because you've been there a year. You got your guys in there. You got a receiver that's getting offers from everybody. So, what are we talking about here? I mean, do we feel like we're throwing for 2 or 3 passing touchdowns? A chance can have 100 yards. What do we have? I need a little bit of a preview for the people.
Look at him trying to stir the pot.
Stir, baby. I got to stir.
Well, yeah, I got a lot of respect for McFadden. I think he does a great job. Wherever he's been, he's done a fantastic job. But, I think that being a year in the program, even though it was a COVID year, we didn't get to do the weight room. So I'm really not that far ahead is what you think you would be in a week or a year 1 going into year 2. Just now figuring out the weight room situation in West Charlotte. And, we got a long ways to go. I think Independence had a pretty good base, so the playing field is it's more even than you think. Now I have a quarterback that actually is trained by McFadden, and Malachi Marshall. He'll be a sophomore coming there, and you know him too well as well, Trace, with the Unconquered team. But it'd be kind of nice. I know that he'll get excited about that game because he's got a chance to to win the job, and it'd be nice to go against his mentor and throw for about 350.
Garinger's never had a quarterback throw for 350 ever. That needs to be an ESPN. Never had a quarterback throw.
I got to get in on this. Garinger, your quarterback won't throw for 350 for a year.
Did y'all not? Hey, we had the most. All right, chance average.
McFadden seen you play before. You don't throw the football. Look at him. He's trying not to laugh. I'm trying to.
About the whole season right there.
I get the bad about you got to be able to run the football. You know that. But I do whatever it takes to win. I threw the ball more this year than I've ever thrown the ball because that's what we were better at. You know what I mean? when I was in other places, we had one of the best running backs in the country. So why not run the ball a little bit more? They give me the hardest time. Like, I don't know how to throw the ball and all this stuff.
You don't know how to throw the ball. That's a fact. You don't. You just throw it out. You got 6'6".
Whole lot of bulletin board material right here, Brian.
Chance scoring a lot.
Yeah, well, DJ, man, thanks for coming on the show. We definitely got to have you back next year. We got to have you and Hales on the last week on the double screen talking a little junk. That should be fun.
Not that week.
Thanks for coming on with me, man.
I appreciate y'all, man.
All right, man. Take care.
Good stuff.
Man, that's crazy. I remember him playing wearing number 11. Now he's coaching. That's absolutely
great. He looks like he can play, don't he?
Yeah, he does. He got that strong, that Superman chin. Yeah, and he guys, I'm telling you, Charlotte coaching has gotten so much better. Let's bring in the Myers Park coach now. Coach Fuller, how you doing, sir?
Good, sir. How are you gentlemen doing?
Doing well, man. Congratulations on the new gig. I like that flat top.
Yeah. Thanks. We're excited about it. We're excited about the program there at Myers Park, and we're going to keep this horse running a little bit, and hopefully we can hold that trophy at some point soon.
Well, there's only one goal at Myers Park. They've been to the regional finals a couple times. They've never been to the state finals. What are you going to do to try to get them over the top?
I think first and foremost, we got to go back to the basics. Myers Park has always been blessed with great talent. We've had the quarterbacks, the receivers, the defensive linemen, the DBs. But for me, being a defensive head coach, we first got to understand what's important is we got to stop the run. And so to me, that's going to be a thing we hang our hat on. And some things we take pride in is stopping that run. And second thing is taking care of the football. There were too many opportunities, in my opinion, over the last couple of years that we didn't take care of the football. And, and then the third thing is to be able to run the football when you want to and when you have to. And a lot of that is the mindset. And so my whole goal this summer, going into camp, the first couple games that we play is to instill that mindset and people around the community to understand that that's what we're about. And so to me, when we can hang our hat on those things, I've been a part of some great franchises, some great organizations, and those are the things we did. And when we did those things, we were excited and we were happy, and everybody in the community in the city that we were in, we were happy as well.
Coach, you have your wealth of experience, and as we know, coaching even at the highest level, of football. So, with your wealth of experience, what is something different that you feel that you're going to bring to the Myers Park program that they maybe haven't had in the past, or maybe something that you can enhance that they have had in the past, but want to do better?
Well, I think a little bit of it is scheme, but your scheme can only do as much as the kids can do. But this year, I thought it was phenomenal. The kids understood what we were asking them to do from a defensive standpoint. And then we're going to build on that. Like I told the kids when we first got there, they're running a pro scheme. They can see guys on Sunday afternoon do the things that they're doing, the schemes, the stunts, the pressures, and things like that. So that's one thing I think that we can do to better our program. And the second thing is, for me, dealing with the program is that I've been there. I've been in that high school locker room. I know what it feels like. I know what it tastes like. I know what it smells like. And I know what it takes to win a state championship. I grew up in Texas. I went to a private school, but we won the state title. And it's hard. It's hard. People don't understand how hard it is. And so I think that gives me a leg up. The guys understand I've been where they are. Anything I ask them to do, I've done it. And so I think that gives me a little bit of a step to stand on when it gets tough for those guys.
Coach Fuller, actually, first and foremost, congratulations on the new
Thank you, sir.
role. I haven't met you in person to my knowledge, but I've heard a lot about you. I had detailed conversations with Coach Chadwick last night, just telling me what kind of a fine gentleman you are, and I know he was happy for your promotion as well, for your success. But I want to ask you this: you mentioned your NFL background, and I'm glad you threw the Texas out there, and we know that coaching in the NFL and the players, it's a profession, and, you're expected to do this and that. And, there's a lot more to it. But how do you step down? And I know you were at Myers Park this past year, but how do you step down to the high school and make it more about the educating the players and making it a little bit more of a teaching opportunity? And one, I think that the teaching you will provide will make the guys more ready for the next level in the college, and a few of them maybe in the pros down the road. But how do you turn a professional job into a teaching job and maybe translate? It doesn't matter what you know about football. It matters how you translate it to them so they can be most effective. So how do you do that?
Well, I think you said it, and you put you hit that nail in hard. Teaching. There's a lot of people that can coach. Been around a lot of great coaches, but I haven't been around a lot of great teachers. And to me, I tell my son this all the time. At some point, dad can't run as fast. Dad can't hit as hard. Dad can't hit the shot. So that education is the most important. So for me, making sure the kids understand it's a student athlete for a reason. We're gonna hit that weight room hard. We're gonna do all those things, but the most important thing is your education. So first and foremost, that's where we're gonna start. And then secondly, we're gonna teach these young men how to play the game, understand situational football. Most games are lost; they're not won. Whether you're jumping off sides, where you don't understand it's 3rd and 2, and the tailback's trying to run outside and takes a negative gain instead of putting the shoulder pads down and getting the yard. My biggest thing, it's 4th and 1, and you snap the ball back 5 yards. Don't understand that. Get under the center. Run a quarterback sneak and let's get the first down. But in my opinion, it's the teaching that I feel like can bring to Myers Park, and that we can grow as a school when all the coaches are teaching the same thing.
Oh, I agree. I agree 100%. And I think we got Coach Griner on to ask a question as well.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, brother? Congratulations, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, I saw y'all's last game. You did a great job on defense. I thought you guys did a fantastic job. It's just that those guys were pretty good,
Those guys are really good.
Hey, I had the pleasure of coaching one of your athletes, Caleb Weaver. I absolutely love that kid in the All-Star game this past week. I mean, he was by far one of the best performers in the game. He had 3 interceptions, 2 of them counted, obviously, and helped us win the game. But I'm doing everything I can on my end just to let you know, because I think he can play college football. He's very, very good and easy to talk to. I think he's got a high future. What do you think about him?
Yes, Caleb was a guy that did everything I asked him to do. I told Caleb this. I kind of kicked myself because we probably should have moved Caleb around a lot more. Very, very high football IQ, tough player, ball skills, understands the game, understands angles, and is a willing tackler. We always talk about wanting to tackle and willing to tackle. Caleb wants to tackle, and that makes a big difference, in my opinion, in a DB, especially as a defensive guy. I'm in the DB by trade. Does the corner want to tackle, or is he willing to tackle? There is a difference, and Caleb wants to tackle, and that was important for me, and that's big to me. And yes, Caleb can play at the next level. He really can, and we got to, I'm doing everything on my end to get that young man an opportunity to play at the next level.
No doubt. He can definitely hit, though. You're exactly right. That's the one thing that stood out in his highlight for me.
Yes.
Coach, is anything going to change scheme-wise? Myers Park's been kind of a pass-happy team. We saw Lucas Lindhoff said he's going to stay here and not go back to California, and all the California guys are going to stay. So you guys still going to throw it all around the yard, or you going to change a little bit? I know last night you were talking about run the ball, stop the run. You sound a little Bill Parcells last night.
There's a time and a place to do that, and me being a defensive coach, I'm not opposed to throwing the ball. I think there's a time and place to throw the ball. But what I learned my years in the National Football League and just in general, college football and high school football, you got to be able to run the ball when you want to and when you have to. And that's the mindset. Hey, if you guys are going to load the box and y'all going to single up our guys, let's throw it around the yard. I'm good with that. Let's score 60. No problem. But we're going to take care of the football. and that's my biggest thing, honestly, Langston, is to make sure we're going to do what the kids do best. And with Lucas and those guys, we know they can throw the football. I'm not concerned about that. We can throw it with the best of the people, in the state of North Carolina.
You guys next year. How much pressure is that going to be on a rookie coach? Because you guys are going to be a bona fide state championship contender.
Hey, we're going to take it one day at a time, one game at a time. And that's what these kids live for. It's a great opportunity. It really is. I'm excited to get our fans back. I'm excited for the rivalries. I'm excited to see, the trucks at the end of the end zones and the games on Friday nights. That would be a great time for these kids and a great time for our community. And so for me, it is exciting. And we do have a lot of, I'm not going to say pressure, but we got a lot of expectations, and we got to rise to the challenge week in and week out and meet those expectations.
What is the one thing that you learned in your professional career, your college career at TCU, that's kind of stuck with you that you really want to instill in your kids now? What lessons have you learned along the way? If you can kind of boil it down to one or two things that you want to make sure your Mustangs pick up from you.
And I was talking to him the other day. So Gary Patterson at TCU, he was my defensive coordinator, position coach. And Gary was the first individual that actually took the time and invested in me as a person, first and foremost, and then as a football player. And so for me, the thing that I learned from Gary is watching tape, understanding what you're seeing, and being able to translate that on Friday, on Saturday afternoon, even on Sunday. So for me, it's really getting in here and teaching these kids, breaking it down, not being all this, but saying, hey, these are their 4 or 5 plays they run, guys. These are their go-to plays. Got to have it plays, guys. And really teaching those young men how to understand and how to execute on the defense and offense perspective when those opportunities present themselves. And I learned that from Gary. He was great about teaching his players the game. And that's why you see year in and year out, he has these 3- and 4-star guys, and they're getting drafted. And you're like, man, where are these guys? You know, what is he doing? And that's Gary teaching them the game of football. And that's what I want to do to our guys, offense and defensively.
All right. Well, Coach, look, thanks for coming on with. Did you got anything else?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying thanks, Coach, for coming on with us. Definitely hope to get you back when we start the season. Season starting like next week, right?
Hey, looking forward to it, and I'm excited, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity.
I need one of them flat bills, man.
Hey.
Oh my!
That's kind of tough. That's kind of tough. I need one of those.
I like it. I like it too. You know, you come visit Mars Park, and we'll talk, and we maybe get you one. We got a black one and a white one, but I can't tell you where I got it because a little bit of a secret right now. But we can get you one there. We can hook you up.
Well, Coach, man, appreciate you, man, and good luck to you. All right.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care. That is guys. I tell you what, man. The coaching in Charlotte is gotten really good in the last week. You picked up some really good coaches.
Really good hires.
One more guy.
And there's another one, Grace, that we need to talk about. Guy that you know out of Hopewell, Mr. Lenny Sanders got the job at East Meck. It happened too late for me to book him on the show tonight. But tell us a little bit about Lenny Sanders.
Yes, I'm going in front of you, Griner, and yes, I know he's on your staff, but I'm still in this moment because I can. Coach Lenny Sanders, I told you, Langston, the first time, we talked about it, is he's a better man than he is coach. And I say that about a lot of great people, but he's a hell of a coach. One thing about him is that he's about the program. He's one of those guys where he was a head coach long before he actually has accepted this role. Everyone talks about young assistants wanting to be head coaches. He was the first one in there, in the building, last to leave, would always ensure our head coach had whatever he needed. Our head coach had something he had to do, our first year had the birth of his son. Our assistant coach stepped in there, and again, he's the guy that everyone knows. Our head coach isn't there. He's the one that's taking over and ensuring everything's good. One of my favorite moments every week was hearing him talk to the kids as we prepared to go and warm up to get ready for games. And he would tell us, how we're ready to go, how we need to do, certain things in order to be successful. And just it had every single person there ready to go and goosebumps on my arm thinking about it. So I'm extremely happy. Coach Fowler, that's AD Fowler now. It's going to be a great AD for him. Made a great decision, and I'm excited to get over there and see what he can do.
All right, Sam, go ahead and tell us what you got.
Well, see, we actually played high school ball together at Butler. He graduated from Butler. He was a year ahead of me, and we built a relationship. He came and helped me out at Harding with Bird at the first start of that deal. And he's a great coach. He's really good for kids. He's going to do a fantastic job. Big family man, and I look forward to him. He's going to a good situation. And he got a brand new weight room at East Meck. I know. Like my church to help me out at Harding is trying to help out East Meck, Central Church of God, which they bring a lot of resources to help that team. So, he's in a good situation, definitely.
All right. Well, Sam, we're going to bring you back a little bit later on. We're going to switch it up a little bit. Now we're going to go to Gloom and Doom a little bit early. But I got a special edition to Gloom and Doom this week. We got Chelsea Sipple. What grade are you in, Chelsea?
I am a sophomore, 10th grade.
Sophomore at Leesville Road. Kenzie, you got some competition.
Sanders in high school. Leesville's in our conference.
That's right, Sanderson High School. I know that. That's bad. That's bad.
You're good.
Kenzie got a little competition now.
I mean, competition makes you better. She got to step up the game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, she did follow me on Twitter before I followed her.
About 2 minutes ago.
All right, so Chelsea, this is called Gloom and Doom. It's really one's got to go. So we're gonna let you jump in. I know I didn't tell you about it. I'm gonna throw you in and throw you into the fire. Alex is going to take over. You just answer the question, say whatever comes to your mind, and no wrong answers. It's all fun and love and laughter. And we got these. We used to make these guys talk about COVID all the time, so we start calling them gloom and doom. But now we try to let them talk about more fun things. So here we go. Oh, wait a minute. I'm hitting the wrong. I'm hitting Chris's music. Let me find Alex's music. Alex, what's your music? You're
It's like the scratching head sound.
Yeah, it is. Here we go.
Scratch my head every time I realize that the level of excellence in high school football coaching in the Charlotte-Mecklenburg region has been great for many, many years. And it's very important that we affirm that time and again, that excellence has been in place for decades and it will continue, but it's always been there. Just want to make that point. Moving right ahead to gloom and doom. Hey, but it's a good day, but still one got to go. Hot sauce. Now one's not going to go. I mean, because Dale proved that one doesn't have to go a few weeks ago. But one's got to go here. What are we going to get rid of? Texas Pete, Tabasco, Frank's, or Old Bay hot sauce? So let's let our hot sauce expert Dale start us off here. What's got to go?
Well, Frank's can't go. That's the best flavored hot sauce. So that's got to stay. Old Bay's pretty good. It's got to stay. It's really between those other two. If I figure you're going to put something in your mouth that's food, it's got to taste good. I mean, it really. I like hot, and I'll eat as hot as anybody wants to throw at me, but it's got to taste good too. Why pain yourself if you're not going to enjoy at some point, right? So these next two hot sauces, their flavors are not quite there for me. But for me, it would have to be Tabasco because I just don't think Tabasco has the flavor. So it's hot, and you want to make something hot and just burn you. Yeah, sure. But you want to have a little bit of flavor, and Texas Pete does have more flavor than Tabasco does. So guess what's gone?
All right, Chelsea, you got the hang of this? What's going to go?
You know what? I have never had Old Bay hot sauce, and I think I've had everything else, and I just can't keep something that I haven't had. So I'm going to have to get rid of Old Bay.
Gary?
Dale turned me on the Old Bay, I think, when I first came on the show and we were talking about cooking. So I like the Old Bay. My wife loves Frank's, so I'm used to that. I was raised on Texas Pete because that's what everybody in North Carolina pretty much eats. Mm-hmm. And it's on almost all North Carolina restaurant tables is Texas Pete. So as Dale said, if I want something hot, I don't want it to hurt. Spice is fine, pain is not. So Tabasco's got to go.
Kenzie.
So I'm not a huge spicy person, so I really don't like hot sauce. So I'm just going to do it my own way. I'm from Texas, so Texas Pete has to stay because best state in America, let's be honest. Tabasco is what I always see at restaurants. However, I do often get Tabasco in my eyes by touching the container and then rubbing my eyes. So that is, points off of Tabasco. Everybody seems to love Frank and Old Bay. So, flip a coin. We'll keep Frank. Frank seems like a great guy. Old Bay, though, there's a lot of old things going on. So, we'll get rid of Old Bay just to make sure that we throw a little controversy in there.
And I'm going to add to the controversy. Kenzie's absolutely right. Old Bay Old Bay hot sauce has to go. Old Bay is a refined seasoning for more exquisite culinary tastes. Old Bay doesn't have a place with hot sauce. Old Bay, you're gone. All right, what we got next? All right, post-game interviews. Who has to go? Kyrie Irving, Teddy Bridgewater, LeBron James, or James Brajon? Gary, start us off.
Well, the way the Hornets got beat tonight, it might be James Borrego for real. They have looked absolutely awful this week. And Sunday, he said something that may twist the owner the wrong way. We all know who the owner is. He said, well, Michael Jordan had to learn how to win. But he's also making an excuse for losing. And they have lost 6 games in a row, including getting blown out of the playoffs on national TV tonight. So Kyrie gets on my nerves. He drives me crazy, but he can play. And people always will put up with people who can play. Bridgewater, sour grapes. LeBron, he gets to say wherever he wants to because he's the king. So when I first saw this, I was going to say Kyrie. But after watching the Hornets play tonight, it's got to be James Borrego because they were awful.
You know what?
Go ahead, Chelsea.
I only know post-game interviews on Kyrie and LeBron James, so I'll give Teddy and James a pass. Kyrie Irving used to be my favorite basketball player. Then he left the Celtics, so I might still be holding a grudge on him. So I'll put the blame on him for this one.
Dale.
Well, Gary's right. Kyrie can play. So maybe that wins him points. And really, when I looked at this, for me, it jumped out. It was either Bridgewater or Borrego. How do you say we didn't practice 2 minutes? And how do you say Michael Jordan had to learn to win close games? You know, that statement actually has got to be one of the most. I don't know, is it ignorant or stupid? What's better here? I mean, can you really be that ignorant? So for me, that just the statement doesn't matter about them getting beat their pants off tonight. It's those 2 statements. Bridgewater's we didn't practice 2 minute drills. No, right, wrong. But I'm Borrego. I think you just cannot make that kind of statement for 2 reasons. One, Michael Jordan knows how to win close games, and 2, he's your boss.
Yeah.
How do you make that kind of comment about your boss? That's just stupidity.
Kenzie.
So for me, it's not even close. I think James Borrego has to go. Obviously, it's not just close games that they lose, as we've just recently seen tonight. Also, I mean, if you're going to put some gripe behind the GOAT himself, there might be a little of validity to it, but you just chose to go with an absolutely horrible statement. And I'm shocked that MJ didn't go in there and coach himself tonight afterwards, because we all know how competitive he is. So, James has got to go, and I think he'll be gone pretty soon anyway. So,
all right. Well, I'll make a couple comments on this. We could get rid of Teddy Bridgewater because Bridgewater actually was inaccurate when he said we didn't practice 2 minutes. He should have said we didn't practice, and that would have been appropriate. Now, Kyrie Irving, I've never been a huge Kyrie fan because of something that happened years ago. I wasn't particularly fond with the way his time at Duke ended for a number of reasons, which we can discuss at a later date. So I've never been fond of Kyrie. LeBron James has earned the right to say some things, not only because of what he does on the court, but because of his philanthropic and human interest and community-minded endeavors off the court. So you can go with that. James Borrego. Michael Jordan maybe had to learn to win close games, but he did win them. I don't know. MJ, maybe he was talking about Markel Jones. I don't know. He said MJ. Maybe he wasn't talking about Michael Jordan, but that's still not the very brightest comment. Borrego's got to go. Next. All right, qualifying for postseason play. Division play in college football, playing games in the NBA, or playing games in the NCAA tournament. Chelsea, what's going to go? Start us off.
Gosh, I'm going to have to go with college football. Basketball is my favorite sport. I'm just going to have to go with football.
Gary?
I enjoyed the ACC this year, just playing straight conference and the top two teams go to the championships. So I think the division play in college football has to go. You're more likely to get the two best teams in the conference playing for the championship as opposed to, say, 8-0 Clemson versus a 5-3 Virginia, whereas another team in Clemson's division might be 7-1. So I think it's, I know the NCAA required conferences to have divisions in order to host a championship game, but they have since removed that. And I think the Big 12 started it, and this year the ACC did it. And I think it's better for the conference to get its top two teams in the championship game. And so the division play in college football needs to go.
Kenzie?
Division play, as everybody knows, the one thing that I love, it's very high up there, is SEC football. And, let's just say that, LSU and Alabama may have been the two best teams a few years ago. I think we can all agree that two SEC teams should have been in there this year out of Notre Dame. I think personally division play screws the SEC. They're the best they're the best conference in college football. There's no doubt about it. And every year they get screwed by division play. So that has to go.
Dale?
I'm not a big fan of playing games, but I really don't. I'm right on with, you got to take the two top teams. The division play, I just think is wrong, and we saw some good examples of it. We've seen good examples of it. So for me, out of all this, it's the division play's got to go.
Playing games in the NBA have to go. Very simply, playing games before the playoffs at large will do nothing to help the NBA overcome what has been the NBA's prevailing issue for many, many years, that the NBA refuses to do the one thing that will enable it to attract, cultivate, and sustain a very diverse, multi-generational fan base. And you know what that one thing is the NBA refuses to do? Turn out a quality product. Playing games in the NBA got to go. Next. All right. High school football all-star games. Which one's going to go? The Shrine Bowl, the East-West, or the Queen City All-Star game? Gary, start us off.
Shrine Bowl is rich in tradition. You usually get the best in North Carolina versus the best in South Carolina. I know for a long time, kids would not have committed by the time they had Shrine Bowl practices, and D1 schools would go out there and watch the practices. So I love the Shrine Bowl. I was very impressed with the Queen City Bowl Friday night. I went out there. It was well organized. It was well coached. There wasn't penalties. It was a big crowd. You had some college coaches there. I thought they did a phenomenal job with that Queen City Bowl last week. I think the East-West All-Star game at the Coaches Clinic has run its course. I just think it's too late. First of all, being in the summer, many of the best kids have already gone off to college. So I just think the East-West has outlived its usefulness because you got seniors who've already finished and should be on their way to practice in college as opposed to getting ready for an all-star game. So East-West got to go.
Kenzie.
I'm gonna go East-West has got to go just because of all of the turbulence about it in the chat. There seems to be a lot of people who are distasteful with the East-West Bowl. So I feel like for my own sake and not taking a lot of, controversy in the chat, I'm going to go East-West Bowl has to go. Plus, I'm a Charlotte kid. You got to stay with the Charlotte kids. It's the whole thing.
Dale.
Well, this is it might not be popular. The biggest problem with the East-West is when it's played. I don't think it ever reached its usefulness, Gary. Because it's being played in the summer, and I think it needs a shift in time play. The fact that the Queen City Bowl competes in a time space with the Shrine Bowl, I would have to get rid of the Queen City Bowl because of that. In a normal year, it's competing in that same time space. And I just, the Shrine Bowl, while it needs a makeover, as I saw in the chat, and I fully agree, it needs a marketing makeover. It's just the game you can't get rid of, and you really should. There should be a lot more focus put on it, both in the state, Can I
interrupt you 1 second? I know you have a great rant. One quick second. The Shrine Bowl needs to move back north. I'll get out.
No. So that's a good point. The Shrine Bowl, when hosted by the North Carolina Shriners, was certainly a lot better game, and I don't know if it's all because of their promotion. I mean, I've had some great thoughts in my head about how we could make the Shrine Bowl better, and that whole Shrine Bowl week a better thing. But if the Queen City Bowl could move itself to another time slot, I'm in favor of it. But to be right there competing with just something that's been a tremendous help to kids, and it has a focus on kids, and they should not focus on kids, but maybe that's one of the problems with the Shriners in South Carolina is they're focusing more on that, and they should keep the same amount of focus and just increase that focus on getting a better marketing of the entire event. So for me, that's
my mother used to do the commercials for the Shrine Bowl or the Shriners way back in the day. So I think the Shrine game is, the Shrine Bowl is phenomenal, but I do wish that the Queen City Bowl, it didn't affect it this year, but I think that it would be nice if they moved it to just one day later or one day before, so they're not competing on the exact same day. They don't have to change weeks, but you could play on a Friday and then Shrine Bowl be played on a Saturday. They'll figure that out.
And Alex, let me say this real quick before you make your point, Alex. And I've worked with the Shrine Bowl since about 2008 or so. So I'm very well versed in everything, inside, outside, everything, been backwards and forwards. The Shrine Bowl. It is the nation's longest running high school all-star game of any kind, formed in 1937. We're at the Charlotte Fire Department of all places. So the Shrine Bowl is the pinnacle of high school all-star games. But I want to say, why does any of them have to go? I think the East-West game needs to be moved to December. It would be an amazing success. Now it's just an all-star game of kids that ain't never going to play football again, or very few of them anyway, maybe some semi-pro guys. Why not keep them all? I want every opportunity there is to have kids playing games. And if it gives somebody a chance to play D3, D2, whatever, let's keep them all. That's my thoughts, Alex. I'll let you finish.
Before I comment, let's let Chelsea jump in.
I think like Kenzie said, I might go with the popular vote in the chat. I guess the Shrine Bowl Bulls tradition. And then I'm from Raleigh, but I know the Charlotte talent in football is incredible. And summer and football in summer, that doesn't seem like something I would want to do if I was an athlete.
All right. Well, I'll wrap it up here and just stir up the whole pot relative to everything that everyone just said right here and what's going on in the chat. Chris just mentioned the idea, why do any of them have to go? Well, I'm going to suggest this, that they all need to go. And here's why. And yes, I'll preface this comment. Yes, I am a school administrator, and I'm going to respond and comment accordingly. Why do all of these games have to go? Because they are undermining the educational mission of high school athletics. They are undercutting students participating in multiple sports. The season is over. Let these kids go on and play another sport. You think of some of the best student athletes we've seen. Let's take two great ones in Charlotte Mecklenburg schools historically. Keith Matkins, class of 98 at West Charlotte, and 1 year before, D'Angelo Lloyd, class of 97 at Independence. Two of the greatest multi-sport athletes who were championship level in both football and basketball, and we got to see in both of them. Why are we holding these kids hostage with meaningless all-star games, seeking to put money in people's pockets at the expense of these kids and undermining their educational experiences and what they can do to have the best of both worlds one more season in their high school experiences? They all need to go because they are undercutting the formative mission of education-based athletics. Get them out.
Alex does not play. Like, he is always he has to be on our show because he's always on the other side. I love it. All right, Kenzie, you know what time it is, right?
It's Kenzie time, plus Chelsea and Chris.
Grice said, "This is your time. Be selfish."
Yeah, absolutely, soak it up, Kenzie. We'll get to Chelsea's time next year, but you need to soak it up and enjoy this one.
What does it feel like to have the reliever come in? You know what I'm saying? Or Chelsea just.
I saw it. I was like, man, like, you already got my replacement. That was great. But I always say, Langston gave me an incredible opportunity here. And Chelsea may know this. It's hard to find things when you're this young where you can get this much experience. And it's, I've learned so much. I was thinking about the first one I did and just how horrible it was. And then I hope that disappears off the internet forever. But it's been incredible. And, Chelsea's obviously going to do a great job. She held her own and, gloom and doom. And, you can't ask for anything better than that. So,
wow!
Don't forget about the Thunderdome.
That's right.
I don't know if they'll throw into the Thunderdome yet. That was scary when I got thrown in there. Lace was like, "Just go, just go."
And Kenzie, you really proved your mettle to me when you drove up with Coop to Kannapolis to cover the mega tennis match. I mean, it was like Connors and what's her name again? It was like that. It was mega up there at A.L. Brown, and you were there, and you covered it all. It was awesome, and I'm going to always hold on to the memories. And like we said last week, you're always on the team. Next year, the year after, when you make it big at ESPN, we're going to be here waiting on you.
Like I said, it all starts here. Y'all were the first mentors. Wear it loud and proud. Next time you guys need someone to cover your tennis match, I'm here.
Oh, there's going to be a rematch, I promise.
I know, and I'll drive up from wherever I am. We got to make it. It's going to be big.
You better bring a lot of sun drop, brother. Look at the Dale Earnhardt sun drop in the back.
Hey, two most famous guys from Kannapolis right here, Dale and me.
No doubt. So did you interview anybody else? Or is this a Chelsea interview?
I think this is a Chelsea interview.
Nice.
But maybe next week for the final one, we'll get a special guest.
We got to bring her in with the speed round.
We do.
You want to get her to
Chelsea, what's your favorite superhero?
I think
Favorite superhero?
Since we don't have a speed round, Kenzie, I think you need to do the speed round to Chelsea live in color.
I got it. It starts off, it's intense. I feel like this is what I'm going to start using when I go on dates.
Your dad know about
You just
that?
tell so much by a person. All right, Chelsea, what's your favorite movie?
Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, you gonna fit right in, Chelsea.
Yes.
What's your favorite TV show?
Grey's Anatomy. It's basic, but I love it.
My wife loves that too. That's her favorite.
Andy Griffith.
Oh my gosh. Get out of here, Chris. Throwback.
What's your favorite food?
Oh gosh. Sushi?
I was about to say, don't say tofu, and you throw out sushi.
I don't like tofu though, but I love sushi.
That's great.
What's your favorite color?
Purple.
Who's your favorite singer/band?
Not necessarily a singer or band, but I like Kanye West.
I missed the old Kanye, straight from the bone Kanye. If you were a superhero, who would you be?
Maybe Spider-Man.
Nice. See, I've thought about that one. That's a good one.
Y'all not realize how gorgeous the Wonder Woman is? I mean, golly.
Sam,
Unreal.
the past few times we've been on here, you've said things that I feel like you're going to end you up on the couch.
Oh, God. No, I mean, hey, my wife knows when we watch Wonder Woman, I'm locked.
You need to bring your daughter back in here.
Oh, gosh. Oh, I got one question for Chelsea. You and Kenzie on the table, arm wrestling match. Who wins?
All my strength is in my legs, so I'll go with Kenzie.
Oh, good. All right. I'm done. Thank you so much.
Welcome back to Talking Preps Charlotte. I'm Chelsea Sipple, and I am interviewing CJ Jordan, class of 2022, Millbrook High School basketball guard. So CJ, starting off with winning the 4A state championship this past season, just talk about how you and the team put in the work to achieve that overall goal.
Well, me and the team, I'll start with the team first. We just put in the work by really just working hard every day. I mean, even with the COVID stuff going on, we still found ways to get stronger, get better. And, even with the shortened season at the end, I mean, when we could finally start doing contact stuff, it all just kind of clicked naturally. So, I mean, the work, we put in was, definitely hard every day. But all the hard work at the end, it paid off to us winning that state championship. Again, just, doing whatever needed to be done on in those games or, on that practice. If I needed to rebound, be a rebounder. Just, putting in the regular work that, most people would. But I just, worked harder and, as a team, we worked harder and we just came out on top.
Awesome. And then obviously with COVID-19 in this past season, talk about some of the challenges the Millbrook team faced and how you overcame those.
I would challenges we faced, none were really COVID related or anything. One challenge we did face was, we played, I remember we played at Cardinal Gibbons. We won the game, but we didn't play as a team. And Coach Davis, which is our head coach, he got on the bus, got everybody on the bus and just told everybody, if you're not going to lock in as a team, as one unit, then, don't show up to practice tomorrow. So I think that's the only problem we really had was just sometimes we would play selfish basketball. But again, at the end of the day, we got it together and came out on top.
That's great. And then now with Millbrook, the school being now known as state champions, Describe the importance of basketball at the school and just the culture of the program.
Well, I think basketball has always been important at the school. You know, we have never won a state championship before. So, you know, to be on a team that, you know, has won it and, you know, being the first to do it, it definitely means a lot. With that being said, the culture hasn't really changed. The culture has always been the same, but it's just, you know, a little more intense each year. And with that being said, I mean, this year, of course, you know, people are going to be trying to come at our necks because, again, we're state champions now. And, you know, the culture still continues regardless because before us, there were people who paved the way for us to get to where we were. Well, not where we were, but where we are today, as state champions. So, you know, with that being said, the culture doesn't really change. It just intensifies.
Awesome. Well stated. And then also now going into off season, describe what your workouts have been aside from high school basketball. If you've been doing AAU, home training.
My workouts have just been just sharpening my skills, especially emphasis on ball handling and shooting. Really just want to become a better shooter. And then I have been doing AAU. I've been really successful with that so far. And, you know, with that being said, you know, hopefully the success can transfer to the high school level.
Great. And then next year will be your senior year at Millbrook. Describe some of your personal goals that you have for basketball going into your senior year.
My personal goals is first, I want to go back to back, try to win another one with my teammates. And then one of my second personal goals is just to get signed and, you know, go to college for free at any level, whether it's JUCO, D3, D2, D1. I mean, as long as, you know, I'm going to college for free, you know, I've achieved my goal. So those are really my two main personal goals that I want to accomplish.
For sure. And then finally, what do you look forward to next season?
I just look forward to, you know, the work. I mean, I look forward to the work. I'm ready for the work that comes with it. You know, again, there's going to be teams trying to come at our necks. We're moving conferences as well. So, you know, just something new. But again, I just look forward to, you know, first having a successful season again and just the work really. And then hopefully, you know, we have success and we put in the work and we're back at we're winning another state champion again.
For sure. Thank you so much for joining. And again, this is CJ Jordan, class of 2022 from Millbrook High School basketball. And this is Talking Preps Charlotte. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, Chelsea. It's big time.
Great job.
I need to know a little bit more about you. You're doing these interviews. I'd like to know a little bit more about you. Where do you go to school at?
I go to Sanderson High School in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Okay, cool deal. Raleigh girls. All right, nice. What is your interest outside of school?
Outside of school, I started club lacrosse a year ago, which I love. I don't play basketball, but that's something I'm super interested in. And then just stuff like hanging with friends, family.
That's awesome. Lacrosse, that's big time. So what's the best college girls lacrosse team right now?
I'd have to go with UNC.
Okay. So if you get scholarship to go play there, you're 100% going there.
Yeah.
No runner Langston brought you guys on here. Langston's a big Carolina guy. Unbelievable. Gary. Well, good stuff. Tell us about your last interview you did.
Yeah, so that was CJ Jordan, who's a guard for Millbrook, and I also interviewed Silas DeMary Jr., who's coming up. He recently reclassed to class of 23, coming from class of 2022. Not sure where he will go outside of Millbrook next year, because I know with the reclassing rule, he will have to leave. But coming off of a state championship, just a great athlete, great guy. Wanted to talk to him about all that.
All right, good deal.
Welcome back to Talking Preps Charlotte. I'm right here with Silas DeMary Jr., a class of 23 guard from Millbrook High School. and just came off of a state championship for the 4A class. So Silas, starting off by looking back at your past season with Millbrook, just describe y'all's process to the state championship and how y'all worked to achieve that ultimate goal.
It was just a long process, with COVID going on. We had protocols to go through every day. People canceling games because of COVID, getting COVID. It was just a long, hard process. But I feel like with Coach Davis and all the players around me, we were going to get through it.
For sure. And then I think this year could be described as like a breakout one for you. So just talk about how you've developed as a player.
I just developed as a player as just growing as who I am, like just becoming a leader, all around leader, just being who I am on the court and off the court with my teammates.
Awesome. And then later in April, you received your first offer from Radford. Just talk about your recruitment process, how it's picked up, and getting that college noticeability.
My recruitment recently just started picking up with a whole lot of interest. My first offer was Radford, right? So it's just been hectic. A whole lot of coaches hit me up, wanting to do Zoom. So my recruiting process has been it's taken off.
That's great. And then now going into off season, if you've been doing any AU, I think you're running with Team Curry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just talk about how that season's been going.
It's been going good. So far, we are 12-1 through 4 tournaments. So this has been a great experience playing with a whole bunch of guys that's just as good as me.
For sure. And then how would you describe your game and how you make an impact on the floor?
I would say I'm an all-around player. I can do anything you need. I can be the coach on the floor. I can get a stop when you need, a bucket when you need, just anything you need.
For sure. And then what are some goals you have for yourself in the future, and how are you going to work towards those?
Some goals I have. So for myself, I want to leave high school with like a print on who I am. And I want to score 1,000 points. I just want to have a whole bunch of records I can look back on.
For sure. And then I'll throw this in there to get to know you, aside from being an athlete. What do you like to do outside of basketball?
Outside of basketball, I like to hang out with my friends, play the game every now and then. Just I'll go to a party here and there, but I'm just an all around chill person and just good to be around.
Thank you so much for joining. And again, this is Silas DeMary Jr., class of 23 guard from Millbrook High School. Congrats on your state championship, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Well, Chelsea, I just want to say how proud I am to see you in this moment. Having worked with you for the past year with Dina King and the NC Preps guys, I've seen you already grow tremendously since your first days on camera as well, just as we've seen Kenzie grow. I'm really happy and excited for you. But Kenzie, just throwing it back to you because this is your time. I look forward to the tutelage you can give her, but also, again, best of luck moving forward. We'll always be family.
Yeah, like I said, you guys are the original mentors. Langston's obviously the GOAT himself. So,
thank you.
I think Chelsea's going to do great.
I paid it for that.
I mean, like I always say, when I'm like, oh, I have an internship with Langston Wirtz, and people are like, oh my gosh. But I always say Langston Wirtz before the Charlotte Observer because I know people know who you are. So, but Chelsea obviously did great here. Like I said, it's a lot better than my first thing on Talking Preps, but we'll just move past that. But
you might see that next week on the last show. You might see that.
Maybe, but
No, it's been great. But Chelsea, you want to go to Chapel Hill for college, right? And kind of get into the video, television, motion pictures thing.
I do. Chapel Hill would be my dream school.
Yeah, but we gotta make that happen. We got to make that dream work. Okay, now it's time for the game show. Sam, I bet you've been wondering who you were playing today.
It don't matter. I don't care.
It doesn't matter?
As long as it's not like Mike Newsom or something like that. That might be the only one.
Are you nervous about who I might punch in right here?
Nah.
You're not nervous?
Mm-mm.
All right. I don't have a drum roll queued up, but we decided to bring in the age and wisdom of the panel to try you on.
On our own panel?
Mr. Dale Ross.
Oh my goodness!
Yes, sir.
On.
What
Yes,
you on my goodness for? I bet you get all 5, and I miss all 5.
Oh, I know. I hope so. After all the ridicule,
I'm sure you will.
All right.
I don't have anybody over there helping me. I'm in this
go.
room by myself.
In what year was the last soccer World Cup of the 80s held in? A, 1982, B, 1984, C, 1986, or D, 1988?
Okay, I think the way this goes is the visitor has to go, so I guess that's you in this case, Dale.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what happens if you don't get it right? He's going to go 4 corners.
Yeah, maybe. I know his strategy. We've seen it.
Yes, we've seen it.
We've seen it in action. Boy, I really, I read Pele's book, and while soccer wasn't my thing, I think, in what year was it held? In 80 B.
B. Okay. Griner, what you got?
C, 1986.
Griner gets it right. He's off to his lead again. I swear, somebody's in the back, like telling you.
How did he get that?
Because I just went back 4 years. I know the last one was 2015, and I just
crazy. Crazy. Chelsea, number 2.
All right. Who is Taylor Swift's hit song "We Are Never Getting Back Together" rumored to be about? A, Jake Gyllenhaal, B, Joe Jonas, C, John Mayer, or D, Justin Bieber?
Sam.
C, John Mayer.
Dale.
You 2 young ladies should help me. I have no idea.
On a friend.
C.
The answer is A, Jake Gyllenhaal. So we are Sam's still up 1-0. Kenzie.
What was the only team to win 2 World Series in the 80s? A, the Dodgers, B, the Yankees, C,
the Oakland A's. Oh,
Oakland A's,
or
D, the Cardinals.
Oakland A's. Let's see here. So we got
Sam.
Dodgers, the Yankees.
It ain't Sam, it's Dale.
Oh, well, Dale. Okay. All right.
Dodgers, Yankees, A's. C.
What's your answer?
C.
C is your answer. Okay, Sam, what's your answer?
That's a good one right there.
It is a good one.
I mean, shoot. I'm gonna give him a chance here. I think it might be Yankees B.
Nope, the answer is Dodgers A.
Hey, golly.
All right, so it's still.
How did the Yankees not win 2 World Series in
still Sam? It's still Sam 1-0. Chelsea.
That's right. Good job.
Right. Where is the band the Jackson 5 from? A, Gary, Indiana, B, Los Angeles, California, C, Chicago, Illinois, or D, Beaufort, South Carolina.
You right. Just show you how it's spelled. I've spoken. It's my go, right?
It's your go? Okay.
Is it? Didn't Sam go? No, I went first last.
No, you go. You go.
Sam go.
I'm gonna go A, Gary, Indiana.
Dale.
Man. Well, I know who they are. It's Gary or Chicago. Who would I go with? I'm gonna go with Chicago. I gotta win one.
You lost another one. It's Gary.
Yeah, Gary seemed right, but yeah, you're gonna beat.
This game's tougher than it appears. Kenzie, let's go.
Ooh, we got a history one. Who was the president of the United States at the end of the Vietnam War? A, Richard Nixon, B, Gerald Ford, C, Jimmy Carter, or D, Lyndon Dick Johnson?
Samuel.
It ain't Samuel. I just answered the last one first. You always try to do that. Next, I know the game. You can't make me that gonna mess up.
What you got, Dale?
A,
Richard Nixon. What do you guys saying?
Hey, sounds good.
The answer is B. Gerald Ford. Sam wins 1-0.
I think Alex would be very disappointed.
Well, yeah, we should get Alex to take you on. Maybe Alex, we got to get you. We got to get you with a loss before we get out of here.
Dale was right about one thing. He got
that?
none of them right.
Yeah.
See, Sam, I started to do it this way. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a Sam by the toe.
Yeah, he had a tough time. He had a tough time.
People lock in on a screen when the brain locks down. They can't.
They brought him home.
What's that? All right, guys. I'm going to let y'all go. It's time to go to the Thunderdome.
That's right.
I gotta get some shots up. He's already been warming up, man. It's like you come in the gym. Griner already. I just watched him win a game to 12, and I'm coming in. I got next. I gotta warm up some. Give me a second. Hold on.
All right. All right, in the blue corner, we got Grice. In the red corner, I love the Freddy Cougar comment, by the way. We got Don't Sleep at Griner.
Yeah, he's been slaying people tonight. I can't be his next victim. The way he's moving, goodness.
All right, man, this is going to be fun, coach versus coach. Let's go ahead and kick it off right here. Should parents pay for camps and combines that do highlight videos, college promotion? I got a strong opinion about this, but Grice, I want to know what you say.
Yeah, I'll take it kind of from a different angle. I do think that there is some merit in some parents paying for camps and companies for promotion. I think too many times, and I think Chris Hughes, you can kind of get into this with your vast knowledge. I've got a lot of guys down east. We do a great job, and we've done a great job, here of highlighting those guys out in that area. But I think in some of those areas and people that are able to do so, there is some merit, there is some value in guys being able to do that. I mean, I talk with, for example, Vance does a great job of, every game they had the NCAA, choose your uniform to kind of show the jersey combo for the night. I'm talking, to guys in the 336 and guys from other states who are aware of that video and go check on Friday to see the combination just off of a 30-second highlight video. There is definitely merit to parents that are able to do so. Again, I want to say that, we're definitely in a pandemic and have had a lot of situations where people have had some financial stress. But for those that are able, there's some value, and you can get, your worth for what you pay for with providing, some sort of financial stimulus, I guess, to your collegiate aspirations. Of course, you have to have the talent. Let me also add that disclaimer, but there is merit there. Brian, I'll let you get it.
I mean, I think that's not a my echo.
I think you're good my way.
Okay. I would say no parents shouldn't have to pay. I always tell camps, like all the camps you go to, everybody's trying to make a little bit of money on the side. The really good camps are the ones that are free, the Rivals and the Nike. So I think that they should go to more of those and then compete on the highest standard. Now, it's going to be hard to be seen, but I like those type of camps. Now, when you're talking about like hype up videos and things like that, there's a lot of people that come in and do those things. I think kids need to understand what's a good play, what's not a good play. And I think them doing their own highlights is critical. I think ever since the technology of huddle and other aspects, I think that they can do their own highlights and their coaches can groom them to say, you need to put this on this, take that off. You need to put this in front of that, and so on, and teach them what good highlights are to help promote themselves and to help them learn a little bit more about themselves.
I got to take in this, and this is from somebody that about 15 years ago used to run my own camps and combines. And Griner, I'm going to say I agree with you 100% in a sense that, the Rivals, the Nike Combine, some of the big times, those are necessities and are needed for some of these athletes to break through. But on the other hand, I think that, with social media the way it is, with Huddle, which was an instant game changer because you can instantly press a button and get to all the coaches. I think most athletes are going to get seen. If you're good enough, you're going to get seen. There's always exceptions to the rule. I think that a lot of the camps, the only people that really win are the people that put the camps on. That's just kind of how I feel. But I do, and when I used to run some combines, I do believe in the way we did it was, when we did a camp, but we would teach the player how to go to the Nike camp, out of the Rivals camp, and come out of the blocks on the 40 the right way, teach them how to do the the drills, because I think that there is something to that. Now, there's some services out there, like some concierge services, like to help pair you with the right D3 school. I think those are probably pretty good, because D3 is its own animal. But when it comes to scholarships and D1 ball, I just think that if you're good enough, you don't need to pay a lot of money.
Now, I do recommend, like, if you're paying money for something, I think those individual coaches that spend 2 hours with you directly, 2 hours, like $20 a session. I think those are a lot of benefit there, like Coach Edwards for us, Cam Sullivan, Chachi's been doing it forever. Coach Simmons at Huff does a great job with that stuff. So I think that there's a lot of value when you get into that, because you got so much one-on-one time, and it helps you perfect your craft, like you're saying, Chris, with the 40s and the starts and all those things.
And, I don't necessarily believe in the 7-on-7s, and because I think it's a little bit of that travel ball element, but I do think that they have been, and I've talked to coaches who have found guys through 7-on-7 teams like that. So, I might not like them because it's somewhat been a method to help other coaches recruit kids to their schools. On the high school side, I think that has been a good element for kids to get seen by college coaches. All right, any response? That's it. All right, we'll go to round number 2. Let's pop up the question right there, coach versus coach. Will Cam Newton be starting for New England when they play at Carolina on November the 7th, or is Mac Jones coming soon? Coach Griner, you got it first.
Yeah, I think Cam Newton will be starting. And I think we forget how much of a competitor Cam Newton is. Now they're bringing in the guy that's supposed to take over his job. You're going to see him, eating correct. All of a sudden, he's going to be a phenomenal guy in camp. He's going to be a better leader for his team. And then he gets to go home to Carolina and improve something. I think guaranteed he'll be starting still then. And, we'll see where New England's at during that time. Now, the only way that Mac Jones comes in, if they're like struggling, like say they're 2-5 or something of that nature, then I could see a change being made. But, I don't necessarily see that happening.
I mean, if he didn't have the motivation of getting cut by the team that drafted you, going to another place where they already had drafted a quarterback the year before, if that wasn't enough motivation for him to be successful, wasn't enough motivation for him to protect his craft and perfect his craft, and to get better and be able to do some of the things that we've seen Cam do, I don't understand what motivation is going to be left. I like Mac Jones as a guy that can come in. Again, he comes from, Sarkisian. That Sarkisian's been an NFL coordinator. So you will know that he understands and can run an offense, and McDaniel's offense, and be successful. He's a guy that's not going to be flashy. He's not going to give you a lot of crazy, plays with his feet. But one thing about him is he knows how to make great reads. He's a quarterback that can get the ball out of his hands and be successful. I think we saw some of, even some of the best of Cam still involved his legs. And when you play teams that won't allow you to do that, and when you are in a position in your career that won't allow you to do that across multiple games, I don't see a situation in which by the time they're in November 7th that he'll be starting. I mean, last year, being a 49er fan, he had one of his worst games against the 49ers, and you saw him get benched and pulled around that similar time frame. And I think we're going to see this whenever they play Carolina. Maybe not that game, but some game right before that in which they want to get a look at Mac Jones. You don't draft a quarterback, that high to sit on the bench the entire season when you don't have a defined start in front of him.
I'll throw this out to you. It wasn't that many years ago. Cam Newton was an MVP of the NFL. But, Grice, you mentioned those legs. Did those legs and him getting outside the pocket and running the way he did and being as physical as he did, I think that you could probably say maybe the lack of flags being thrown to protect him as well. But I think that probably led to his demise, at least from a productivity. And there's no question. You look at his productivity, he is not the quarterback he used to be. But he's still, and I think he can kind of get in that Tom Brady sense, can he use his head to make plays versus necessarily his feet? And you two are the coaches right now. What do y'all think?
As far as Mac Jones, you talking about Mac Jones, or you saying Cam?
I'm talking about Cam Newton.
I think it's tough to teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, I think when you have great athletes that are used to playing a certain way, it's extremely tough to retool and completely reinvent yourself. I mean, we talked so many times about, it takes a lot. It takes some of the greatest to be able to actually change however you play to go a different way. And I mean, too many times those guys aren't as effective. I mean, you see, Cam Newton, again, you talk about injuries to his shoulder. We know, towards the end of his career at Carolina, he went through that so many times. I mean, you're dealing with a body that had to be surgically repaired and not being the same. So some of the things that he would benefit from, staying in the pocket, being able to, deliver accurate throws out of the pocket without the need to scramble. When you had a bad O-line most of your career, when you have a surgically repaired shoulder, when you have, a body and ankles that have been sprained multiple times, it's just get to a point where your body fails you enough to where it's hard to reinvent yourself, after you've gone through all that. So I would love to see it. I just don't think he can ever get to that.
Yeah, and we talked about his season. I think did he lead the league in rushing touchdowns that year? I mean, I know he was nearly close, or he led the league in rushing touchdowns. So he's most effective. Like, I know people hating on Tim Tebow. Whenever he's running and facing the defense, he requires an extra guy in the box, which allows him not to be as accurate down the field because he's got more cover 1 and cover 0 versus his wide receivers instead of more complex coverages, and it's easier to read. So, I think that, they're going to ride him out until the wheels fall off or shoulder falls off, and they'll run him a pretty good bit this year.
Well, I think that Cam's got a little bit left in the tank. It might just be a little bit, but I think it's enough to get through at least to the Panthers game. For the record, I'm a big Mac Jones fan. I wish the Washington football team would have been able to draft him, but I do think he'll do a great job for them in the future. Let's go to round 3 right here, Grace. So you're going to be up first. What lessons did we learn about the high school sports in this shortened sports season, and anything we can apply to the next one?
I think we've really learned about the adaptability of kids and the willingness of the by any means mentality a lot of these kids have to getting stuff done. And conversely, I think a lot of coaches have got to look themselves in the mirror and really look at how they operate and just ensure that they're being as adaptable as the kids that they're expecting to uphold that same standard. I think both sides played. I mean, you saw kids, there were so many videos of kids, it was the hashtag working through COVID and showing their resilience during a crazy once in a generation type situation. But a lot of coaches, and again, we saw some games, Chris, I know, you're looking at some of those scores and some of the upsets we saw where you started to even the playing field a little bit where guys didn't have extra time to do X, Y, and Z. And it really, resulted in scheme and how certain coaches were able to take away or neutralize other coaches' advantages that they had. And I think we saw more upsets than we expected, but also, like I said, some kids that really were able to break out and shine and do some amazing stuff. So I thought the dichotomy and kind of the contrasting nature of the players and the situations that they faced, and then some of the adversity, some of the coaches that we maybe expected a little bit more success from that they faced as well. So that was definitely something interesting. And also, I think it has everyone, as we go forward, saying, hey, kids, maintain that same level of mentality, maintain that same level of intensity and working out and getting better. And also with coaches, make sure you're ready for whatever comes. Because again, I laugh at it for me being a coordinator the last 2 years. My first year, I got announced, week 2. The second year was during the pandemic. So as coaches, we have to be resilient for whatever comes.
No doubt. I agree with you, Bryce, on a lot of those aspects. I think that one thing we did learn is that the shortened season was so close to the season coming up that someone got a catastrophic injury where it cost them 6 to 7 months. They're not playing next season as well. We have a player at West Charlotte that got hurt in a scrimmage before we even played. We won't have him in the fall either. Chris from Huff, same type of thing. So we learned injuries played a bigger role than what we thought. Normally, if you lose a season, now you're losing 2 seasons. So that's one thing that's just, you can't do nothing about, but that's just what we're going through right now. Something they can apply next season, just the resiliency of these kids, like Bryce said. I mean, that's amazing that we were able to overcome so much stuff. Like, you didn't hear a lot about a lot of COVID incidences that we thought we were going to hear. Like me and Langston, we all thought that there was no chance that we had a season or if we were going to finish the season. And we definitely did. So I'm impressed with that. And I think that you're going to see the quality of football in the fall might be the best quality of football you've seen in a long time, just because we had technically like a spring season, which like we almost had real football and it's not such a big layoff. And I think that you're going to see very crisp football starting in the fall, and it's going to be pretty fun to watch.
No, I think, Coach Griner, I think you're 100% right in the fact that this upcoming fall season is going to be phenomenal because of the instruction that these guys got during the spring season. It's going to look more like the on-the-field efforts that you see in Texas and Florida and some of those other states that do it all year round. But, man, what a coach versus coach. A good job tonight. Let's pass it over to Langston.
Yeah,
kind of nice though. We don't go at it no more, right? We respect each other too much.
Yeah, y'all are pretty nice. But that's a really good point you made, Sam, because I know a lot of you guys been battling for spring football for the longest, and we did have spring football this year. And so we're going to see the effects of it in the fall. So that's a very
Langston, you were, because you were not at the Queen City Bowl. Of course, coach, it was like an after convention, the coaches clinic. I was able to get on the field and do my Griner impression during the game. I actually gave the signal, his blaster signal, on the field, not on the side. Griner's never on the sideline. I was at the bottom of the numbers and gave the blaster call that Griner gives for one of his defensive calls. I was able to do that in the All-Star game. And I want to salute my man Griner for letting me do that, and the kids actually running it. So we still battle. You say what?
I gotta give Griner his props because his defense came through. They were getting pushed around all that whole game. Now down the stretch, this defense came through. That young man from Mars Park kept intercepting the ball for you, but you got some big stops down the stretch. That was a great game. I watched it. That was a great game.
Jupiter got a little too cute with it. He should have just ran the football the rest of the way and stayed with that lead. But
I think that was that Chad Greer effect, Griner. If I want to be,
people criticize you calling a timeout on defense, but it makes another team might get a score here. And all of a sudden you make one mistake, and then that's a wrap. So I thought that the call of the game was the 2-point conversion call. It was not nothing fancy. Everybody's thinking Austin Greer's going to keep it on a rollout, have different options, and do something creative. Maybe like a reverse pass back to 2-point conversion plays.
21
creative, and he just literally ran pound right up the gut.
They ran 21 on 21. That's what they ran.
That's right.
Dale, last week you were really outspoken about the Mars Park situation. How do you feel now since they have a coach hired?
I don't believe. So it's a two-way feeling, Langston. I think some things were done wrong, but this is not his. This is not Fuller's fault. I've heard nothing bad about him as far as a coach is concerned. It's not his fault. He's just taking advantage of the situation that's put before him, hopefully. So I don't wish him any ill because of it. Certainly, I think that things could have been handled better at Myers Park, but what do I know? The principal has made a decision, and they won a state championship, and I guess he feels that's what it's going to take to get him the state championship. So maybe he makes the right decision. I don't know. I'm just not happy about it because how do you not hire a guy who is your all-conference coach and take a team that really wasn't predicted to do better than third in conference and takes them to the regional finals, wins conference and regional finals. So that just kind of sets wrong. It's almost like we're dealing on a high school level. A college. If you can't win 10 games at a Power 5 school, we're going to kick you out and bring somebody else in. Because I do think high school is more than a state championship. I think high school is about building young men when it comes to football or women, as we're seeing more ladies, young ladies play. So,
Chris, you had a lot of conversations last night about Coach Fuller. I know there was a lot of controversy when he was named. What did you hear about him in your many conversations?
Well, I'll tell you what, my 100%, and I just said it here. I think 100% to Coach Fuller, he's not at any fault here. I think from everything that I've learned from his behavior and how he has handled himself within touching that Myers Park football team as the defensive coordinator, and everything that he has done on that staff has been 100% above board. And I think that he's done everything they've asked him to do, and he's done a great job. We had him on here tonight, and I thought he was excellent. I think that he handled himself well. He asked or answered the right questions, and he said so in a way that I can appreciate. Ultimately it just comes down that this is the principal, Mark Bosco. It's his school, and while I might not have to like the decision that was made, or at least how it was handled, I don't mind that Coach Fuller's the head coach. He certainly got a background that suggests that he's qualified to do so. I just don't necessarily like the process and how I feel like maybe Coach Harmon was kind of left out to dry. But again, it comes down in the nutshell. This is Mr. Mark Mosco's school. He's the principal, and principals have the autonomy to do what they want to do and what they see fit for their school. So ultimately, he's the one that's in that building every day, and he understands what needed or needed not to be done. So, I just say the decision lied with him. I don't have to agree with it, but, I want to respect it.
Gary, I give you the last word here.
I agree with everything Chris just said. I think Fuller, he's been put in a bad position in that everybody is looking at what happened to Coach Harmon and then seeing his face. And Fuller has nothing to do with that as far as I know. I'm like Dale. I don't like how it went down. I think they should have given Harmon at least another year to prove himself. But Fuller seems like he's, well-spoken. He's paid his dues at all levels of football. So I don't think it's a football issue. I think it's a process issue. I'm worried about Coach Galloway. He has a great resume, but I've said it for years. Coaches go to die at Garinger. Great, good coaches. And, I'm big on alignment. I talked to several coaches this past week, and, they were like, well, what about this job? Or what about that job? And I always tell coaches, especially younger coaches, you got to be in alignment with, it has to be principal, AD, head coach. All got to be going in the same direction. And somewhere at Garinger, they change ADs, they change principals, they make promises they can't keep, and then the coaches left hung out to dry. All those coaches that didn't succeed at Garinger doesn't make them a bad football coach. They were at a bad school. And I say a bad school, not because of the kids, because of the leadership in those schools. So I wish Coach Galloway the best. They need to let him bring in 7 guys of his choosing and make sure they're all in the building and do whatever he needs to be successful, or he'll be gone in 2 years as well. He's got a great resume, and I hope he does well. But I'll believe it when I see it when it comes to Garinger.
Sure.
And I thought DJ McFadden was a great hire.
Yeah,
he's worked under some good coaches, and then so he's learned how Butler does it. He's learned how Mallard Creek does it. He knows how Independence does it. So he can bring that knowledge of 3 winning cultures into his own philosophy. If they allow him to bring in his own people as well, you're only as good as your staff.
Well, he's going to be allowed to bring in his staff. Gary, going to stick with you. Will Charlotte area players turn down Shrine Bowl invitations next year for Queen City Senior Bowl invitations next year?
Wow. Like you said, Langston, because they moved the Shrine Bowl down south, it doesn't have as much prestige with Charlotte kids anymore, I don't think. That used to be the crowning achievement for high school kids back in the 80s and 90s to be selected for the North Carolina or to represent North Carolina in the Shrine Bowl. And I don't think that's the case anymore. I mean, you remember they used to sell out Memorial Stadium 25,000, and it was a big honor. All the high school coaches would go to the practices out at Butler, and you could go on the top field and see the south practice and the bottom field and see the north practice, and you got all these.
Okay, Gary, hold that thought 1 second. Chelsea, how big a deal is a Shrine Bowl in Raleigh?
If I'm gonna be honest.
Uh-oh.
Oh man, she's got
to don't be honest.
Sounds about right.
Grace, what do you think? Same question, but wait on Chelsea to get back.
Oh man, I cannot wait for the first time for this to happen. I mean, being in that environment is unlike.
Wait. Here she comes.
I'll be honest.
Did you catch that? My Wi-Fi.
No, we didn't catch it. What do you think of the Shrine Bowl in Raleigh? What is the Shrine Bowl like in Raleigh?
I don't hear many football people in Raleigh talk about it. I haven't heard much about it locally, except for, over Twitter and what I hear about stuff from Charlotte. So I'll take it in Raleigh from my experience. Not very big.
Kind of tough to be excited about a game that's 5 hours away, don't you think? I'm just saying the Shrine Bowl needs to come back to Charlotte, in my opinion. But go ahead, Greg. Next year, will a player, and I'm gonna come to you too, Chris, because I want to get your perspective. Will Charlotte players say no to the Shrine Bowl to play in that purple jersey at the Queen City game next year?
Oh, without question. I mean, for a number of reasons. One, all of your coaches are on the side watching you play. I mean, I'm standing there with, watching Austin Greer standing beside, the co-offensive coordinator, Vance, Coach Q Wright. Of course, he's being coached by his head coach, Glenwood Farabee. You have so many people that are, instrumental in your success that are there to support you within these games. The fact that you understand, and I believe the selection process is a lot more transparent as it relates to the Queen City Bowl as opposed to the Shrine Bowl is another reason. And I just think that the general fact of the fact that, with Charlotte and all of the talent that we have within the Shrine Bowl, it's going to be inevitable that a lot of talent doesn't get highlighted for natural reasons. And honestly, I think every area should do something similar with this game. I mean, I think there in general is going to be more pride in playing for your area amongst your fans and friends than playing somewhere else around some unfamiliar kids. And it sucks because, of course, I do love and appreciate the rich tradition of the Shrine Bowl, but sometimes tradition gets superseded by a better product. Queen City Bowl is that.
I'm going to stop you right there on the transparency deal when it comes to the selection of players. Now, if you want to talk about transparency with the selection of coaches, hey, I'm all about that because I think there's been some funny business over the years, and I've worked with the Shrine Bowl, so, and I got nothing but respect for them. I do think some coaches' selections have been a little weird, and other coaches have thought that too. But in terms of the player selection, there's never been a Shriner that has said, hey, you got to take this kid. No big Shriner potentate or something from Shrine said that if you don't pick this kid here or else. So that don't happen. The coaches of the game do select the Shriners, the players. But when you're picking 44 of the best players from your state, it's hard to get the best. And sometimes good kids just get left behind. But with that said, I'm sad. And I do think, sadly, that there's going to be some players from Charlotte that turn down an opportunity to play in the Shrine Bowl. Now, personally, if I was the coach, I would say you need to represent your state before you represent your city. But I get it. I understand. And what I think it's really going to come down to is the swag that they give out. If the Shrine Bowl is not giving out Nike or Under Armour and the Queen City game is, then you know what? That's what the players are going to gravitate towards. If you're playing for Champion or some off-brand, kids just ain't going to get excited about that. And so that's a concern I've got. But in terms of the competition, I've broadcasted the game on ESPN for about the past 10 years. The game on the field for the Shrine Bowl is as good as it gets. And I can name countless number one draft picks and countless NFL All-Pros that have played in that game in the last 10 years that are mega stars today. So if I'm playing on the field, I want to play in the Shrine Bowl. But you know what? If I want a bag full of some goodies, maybe the Queen City game's better.
Dale, I want to give you the last thought here because you remember how big the Shrine Bowl used to be, the practices at Garinger, and like Gary said, there'd be 15, 20,000 fans. It was on every local television station. Yeah. It was on the radio. It was in the paper. When we covered it, the Shrine Bowl was a big deal, and then all of a sudden it wasn't. What are your thoughts on that and this question, Dale?
Well, the big thing, Langston, is that I know when I was in high school, it started the first week of school that people within the schools, and not just my school, but all high schools, knew about the Shrine Bowl and players. So things were posted, and throughout the entire season, you heard about the Shrine Bowl within your football program, and that was true across the state. So that's one thing that has been lost is that coaches don't promote that within their schools. So they wait and then let something get selected. And here's my player, and this player didn't get selected, and they complain about it, but they don't promote the Shrine Bowl throughout the season. That's probably the biggest thing that I think hurts the fact of where the Shrine Bowl was at. It was a huge thing when I was a child, and then in the high school, like you say, we watched it on television. We the hugeness of it then and today is so. There's just a huge gap. The hugeness with a huge gap. Do I think players will select the Queen City Bowl over the Shrine Bowl? You're talking about playing for an all-state team. Now, it's not quite an all-state team because you're only allowed to have so many players from a school, and sometimes a school may have more than 2 players that can play. But the concept of the Shrine Bowl is a little bit more than just an all-state team. It's supposed to be encompassing of the entire state to get the entire state involved. It's supposed to spread knowledge of what the Shriners are doing with the hospital, so that you put more people, adults, into the community of supporting that. And I'm not talking about the Shrine Bowl. I'm talking about supporting these kids. I think it would be a bad decision to choose a city bowl over an all-state bowl. And I do want to say, I don't think we will see other cities doing the same thing. The reason being, that takes away from recruiters being able to see kids play. If this is about kids and getting exposure, their exposure is going to happen in a larger game than a whole bunch of small games, because you can't spread out the recruiting that far. So,
Kids, I want to ask you the same question I asked Chelsea. How big a deal is the Shrine Bowl among the folks at Huff High School and your friends in high school? Did they ever talk about the Shrine Bowl?
No, I've never heard anybody talk about the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah.
Now, the Queen City Bowl was mentioned a couple of times, and I think that's because of Matt Monroe, Petman. Those guys respect him so much. So if he puts his name on something, I think they're going to talk about it because they're excited. But no one talks about the Shrine Bowl, all that history that Dale just talked about. I had no clue about that. I just thought it was fun that you called them Shriners.
Yeah, I think the Shrine Bowl. I mean, one of you guys mentioned it has a publicity problem. I think they
have a huge marketing problem.
That's part of the issue. Go ahead, Gary.
I want to disagree with Chris about the selection process. It is political. I remember, and Langston, you remember this well too. I had the best senior quarterback in the state in Paul Trump, and he didn't get picked. He had all the state records at the time: touchdowns, yards, completions. He owned every state record, didn't get picked. And then a lot of times they would pick kids who had already committed to Power 5 schools or to colleges that they viewed as, bringing more attendance, and the kid really wasn't that good. I just think, I don't know. I'm not in the back rooms when they selected the players, but I know for a long period of time, I thought the selection process was kind of skewed to the coaches and their friends as opposed to the best players. And a lot of
I want to give Chris a chance to respond to that. I will say that for a long time, very few kids from Charlotte would make the Shrine Bowl.
Yeah, it would be like 4.
And we all thought, and I'm a Charlotte person, so I could be slightly biased, or more than slightly biased. We always thought there were more kids in Charlotte that should make it. But then we went through a period where a lot of kids got selected in Charlotte. So it's kind of gone both ways. But go ahead, Chris, respond to what Gary just said.
I want to go, since I've been involved with Shrine Bowl since about 2008, and I think that the player selection process has been above board from what I've been around. And again, I want to reiterate that no Shriners or anybody like that has been involved in influencing the picks. Now, do coaches and brother coaches from the coaching fraternity, do they get together and, say, hey, pick my guy? Sure. There was a stretch, and I am not going to throw any names out there, but there was a stretch. Let's just look around 99, 2000, where there was some 1A, 2A coaches at the Shrine Bowl that brought sons to play quarterback, and you've seen, and there's my dog on the screen. He's saying hello, and you've seen the results on the field. I think we had about a 63-0 game one time when we got beat, and I say we, North Carolina. So that was a time where I think some players were picked, based off of that more so than who was deserving. So, Gary, I think you absolutely 100% have some validity to your statement. But in the past 10, 15 years, especially since 2006 with the advent of the Shrine Bowl Combine, and I'm going to really say Johnny Roscoe had a lot to do with that when he was in South Carolina and making that happen. I think that North Carolina and the selection process has gotten a whole lot better since then.
Yeah, I just think that for North Carolina kids, having the Shrine Bowl so deep into South Carolina, it just doesn't matter to them anymore.
It killed
And
it.
then you have the Queen City game, and Kenzie mentioned Matt Morrow, who's on Twitter and Instagram all day long promoting the game. And then the Queen City Senior Bowl has their Twitter and they're promoting. And kids enjoy that kind of stuff. And I just and like Dale said, the Shrine Bowl needs to maybe copy some of that, honestly.
Well, Lexi, now that the Panthers are going to have a turf field and they can play as many games as they want to, you think there's a possibility they could bring it back to Panther Stadium? Because that's what it needs to be.
I like seeing it in Charlotte personally, but I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to Panther Stadium.
Well, I can answer that because I have been involved with the organization with the Shriners and stuff, and the Panthers have always been a huge supporter of the Shrine Bowl, and I think that there's a decent chance if the different shrines from around the state of North and South Carolina can finally come together, because there's been some dissension amongst the shrines as well. And that's led to a lot of the issues why they went to Spartanburg in the first place. Mm-hmm. But I think that this new Panther training facility with that 8,000 seat stadium being built in Rock Hill, I think that's a huge opportunity for it to come back to the Charlotte area.
And that would be a much better location. All right, guys, I want to ask about the Alex. Should the legislators continue with the inquiries into NCHSA, or is the job done? Have we found out everything we need to find out? You're on mute, Alex.
There never was a job to be done. The NCHSAA has done absolutely nothing wrong. Q Tucker, Charlie Adams, and Simon Terrell have been absolute beacons of excellence and leadership, have been visionaries for the boys and girls of North Carolina, and have put together one of the most strongest models of state high school athletics governing bodies to be emulated by every other state in the United States of America. There is a reason that Charlie Adams served as National Federation president in 2001-2002, because North Carolina, the North Carolina High School Athletic Association, is a beacon of excellence and a model to be emulated. Everyone should be absolutely envious of the exemplary leadership that the likes of Charlie Adams, Q Tucker, and so many others continue to display for the manifold benefits of young people throughout the state of North Carolina. There never was a job to be done. The association has done absolutely nothing wrong, and it's time to move on from this absolute nonsense. And actually, we all need to stop, applaud, praise, and build a statue to Commissioner Tucker. Just like there is a bench outside of the NCHSAA offices, the Simon Terrell building, in honor of Charlie Adams, which was done before he rose to eternal life. It's time to acknowledge the excellence in leadership, in visionary leadership, and the absolute greatness of Commissioner Tucker, and how she has extended the premier model for high school athletics.
I don't disagree with any of that. Q's faced more hurdles than any commissioner before. Grice, same question.
Well, I went in and, to shout out another publication. High School OT did a great job of kind of getting a survey, anonymous survey for a lot of athletic directors. And I think the prevailing sentiment was that no one is sitting here saying that the NCHSAA is doing something inherently wrong. What I do think is great is that, there needs to be transparency, especially when we talk about the finances. And again, situations like a global pandemic are going to create these sort of conditions that allow us to look in and see what's going on with the NCHSAA. I don't believe that the legislators should get actively involved and start to regulate the nonprofit entities. I don't think that should be something that's done, but there's nothing wrong with an audit or going into and looking in to see what's going on, especially when you have so many LEAs that are experiencing some sort of financial distress, to say, hey, what's going on, or what are things that can be done? And we're already starting to see impacts of that. The NCHSAA is looking into ways that they can help member institutions, and I think that just because of this inquiry, because of everything that was being done, this has spurred them to action and ensure to say, hey, what can we best do to serve our institutions? And that's all we're asking for. I think it's great that nothing happened, as far as we found nothing wrong, but it's also good that this did spur some sort of change to ensure they're operating effectively.
All right, Sam, last question of the night. Be really careful. Would open enrollment work in CMS?
It already does, but
We're done.
If it was on the book, okay. If it was on the books, would he work in Charlotte? Say you could choose one high school coming out of 9th grade. Be careful.
Here's the thing. Could it work? Not necessarily. I think it should be stricter rules. I know that it's very difficult to do the affidavit forms and all these different things, but I wish people took more pride in. Well, I wish middle schools had direct correlation to the high schools instead of like mixed. They're going different areas. I wish that it would go, Ransom Middle School is West Charlotte, so to speak, such James Martin's fans, things of that nature. And then what you can do is we can start a culture like Charlotte Catholic has done with the Holy Trinity and things of that nature. And I think that those kids are going to see those coaches from high school and they'll want to go and stay at the same school that they're running the same type of program with. It kind of goes hands in hand. Like, how many kids from Holy Trinity don't go play for Catholic?
Very, 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 very few.
Yeah.
Gary, same question. Would open enrollment work at CMS?
It's already working as far as most people are thinking about. I mean, parents have always tried to do what's best for their own kid. We on here, we're talking about a sports show, but there are parents that send their kids to certain schools for ROTC, or they'll send them to certain schools for whatever arts program they may have at that school, or IB program or Cambridge program. We already have open enrollment. It's just a matter of what the numbers are as to how many kids are allowed to get in certain schools. But it's already there. It's just unwritten.
All right. Well, Chelsea, you've been indoctrinated to the crew full bore. Hope you have fun. We enjoyed you.
Thank you. Will
you come back next week is the question.
I will, for sure. I'll be here.
All right. Well, every week at the end of the show, we put Sam into one shot and we give him his final thoughts. Sam was on the couch a couple weeks ago because he had really bad thoughts during the show. And he almost went back to the couch today talking about Wonder Woman, but Kinsey said, but Sam.
I'm going to bring some good light here. I'm going to bring some really good light. Just want to encourage all student athletes, if you have a workout program with your coaches this summer, they have a summer schedule, 100% attendance is needed. You need to buy into what they're trying to do no matter what, and the reward will be great. I'm going to give you an example. Find some type of edge that makes you want to go. Tell yourself that you have this goal and you got to meet that goal. I had a goal this year that I wasn't going to miss one day of school. Normally you take a sick day, you want to hang out here, you might want to go play some golf. I just said, you know what? I'm going to dedicate this year and never miss a day of school this school year. And what I had to give credit to is James Earl Jones would read the Bible to me all the way, 30-minute drive to work. And I look forward to that every day. So find your niche, whatever you got to do, go to your summer workouts and enjoy it and get ready for the fall.
Man, I was just glad we didn't get a Tebow reference because Dale's been killing you in the back.
Man, I made it all show. No Tebow.
All right, Grice.
Tebow, a couple of questions.
Grice and Chris, we got to get busy because next week is the award show. We got to get busy and pick these teams. We got to do All Observer, All Riley, and All State. We got to pick them in the final Sweet 16. So next week, we may have to start early to get all this in, but Chelsea have an interview. Kinsey have an interview. Kinsey's original appearance on Talking Preps may show up next week.
Hey,
it might show up next week. So we have to wait and see.
Look at the improvement, though.
Oh, absolutely. That's amazing. But look, tell all your friends. I see there's a whole bunch of people still watching. Tell all your friends next week we're going to do the Super Team, the All State, see if you made it, the Sweet 16. We'll also do the All Observer and all area teams in Raleigh as well. I'm Langston, that's Sam, that's Grice, that's Chris, that's Dale, that's Miss Chelsea, that's Alex, that's Gary, that's Miss Kinsey, and we are Talking Preps.
Gary, you're right.